this one is 6-inch square, and this one is from a 3-inch. So I cut I cut 6 pieces, 3 inches, and then I made the little pieces to join it. Those were 1.5 inches. So basically, or they were in 3 inches that were in quarters. So that's the proportions. And everything else is so easy. This is the easiest fold I've ever done as far as there's really no need for a diagram, and I'll explain in a minute about that. I'm going to show you the book that it came from. This is a book that I've had since, I don't know, many, many years. It's called it's Unit Origami. It's the first Unit Origami book I bought, and it has a lot of amazing, very complex, very simple things, but this has been around for many years. I actually spiral bound it myself because I like to have the book lay flat. But this one is called the Large Square Flat Unit, and this is designed by Tomoko Fuse. She's my hero, origami hero. She's amazing. Now, I never had folded this until the other day, and I don't know why, because it's pretty far back in the book, so I thought, well, it must be hard. It's actually very easy. So we're going to make them. It just takes a little patience because you have to fold 12 units, and then you have to, and really simple after that. But the units itself are so simple. So what I'm doing is I found 6 sheets of pretty paper that I wanted to show off. This is the kaleidoscope paper that I designed for Yasutomo a few years ago. I think it's so much fun to fold, but I always get, when you're folding things, your patterns get hidden, and I wanted them to show. So that's why I thought it looked really cute with that. So I found 6 sheets that I want to really show off, and 6 sheets that I really don't want to show, and I don't care. These would, they're okay. These are pretty, but they're not, I don't really care. So I could have just used any, and now you don't see 6 here. Oh, I hope I have 6. Yep, 6 sheets. Okay. But we're going to fold every single one the same, and we're going to just fold them all at once. And then the rest of it is as easy as pie. So we're going to start. I just basically put my stack over here, my stack of paper, and every single one is going to be folded the same. But what's wild about this, there's no measurement or diagram, because this folding sequence, no matter what, you're going to end up with a square shape that's the same 3 inches. It's going to be, well, under 3 inches, 7.5 centimeters to be exact in the Japanese origami world. But anyway, that's what it's going to end up like this. But it doesn't matter how you start it, because it's just the way it is with origami. Because I have a center, something in the center, I'm going to fold mine to the center, but you don't have to. You can fold it there's no exact measurement. So just start. Here comes Pat. So you don't have to fold to the center. If you want, you could fold one, and I'll show you what I mean by the icky paper. You can fold it even up here. It doesn't matter where you start your fold. Just start it. It could be it doesn't matter, because the next fold is going to divide it in the right proportion. So I'll just show you the difference and why. And we'll just go through these, and we'll get all 12 of these done. Hi, Pat. It's nice to see you. Glad you're here. So I don't know if you got the email, but we're going to fold 12 sheets of paper to make our cube. So I'm just get ready to have 12 sheets. 6 of them will be pretty ones that you really like, and 6 won't matter because it doesn't show. And then 12 little quarter sheets of your papers that will join the cube, or surprise box, or photo cube, whatever that you want this to be. But anyway, it's a smooth side. It's actually a smooth, no crease, 6-sided cube that can be converted to all kinds of things. And also what I love about it, which I didn't show before, is it can be a surprise box. So you could have a gift inside here. You could put something like money if you want, or candy, or something like a cute gift, even another origami gift. And you can take it, somebody's got to figure out how to pull it apart. And really you can just pull it apart by lifting. I hope I didn't glue any of these. I might have. If I glued it, all right. So you can make it a surprise box. There I go. I did glue the sides. So you can put things in it, and then you can put it back together. Or it can just be a surprise box once the the gift is out, it's out. So that's basically the fun part of this. It is, versatile and for surprises, and now I can't get it back together. I must have done something there. Anyway, there we go. I can put it back together now. Whoops, this part didn't get put together. Now, yay. So that's kind of a container, but at the same time, it's also just a beautiful artsy looking cube. And you could just kind of they join together by these little parts here. So just wanted to show you that, how the versatility of it and the fun of it. So what we're doing is we're going to fold them all the same. And the reason I kind of showed this, it doesn't matter where you start your first fold. You just make a fold, and just as long as it's lined up on the sides, doesn't matter. The next fold, so that's the first fold. The next fold is you bring it, that next edge, right to the fold, the edge, just basically to the edge. So same thing, I'm going to do this one with this one. So you can see it doesn't matter how you do it. It's still going to end up the same proportion, no matter what. So no need to worry about dimensions or anything like that, or measuring anything. So I'm just going to fold mine here, and I could do the same. I'm going to do the same, but on this one, just to show you, I'm going like even more narrow. Doesn't matter, because when I do the next fold, here we go. I'm going to fold that to this edge. Right to this edge, and it's going to be the same proportion, no matter what. So this is how we're going to fold our 12 units. So you can see, even though they have different, folding parts here, they're exactly the same in size. And that's just what I wanted to show you. So let's fold 12 times. I'm going to just put those aside, and I'll start bringing in my paper, and I'll start my folds. I'm not measuring, but I am using, because I want it centered. If you have a photo that you wanted to show off, you would just kind of make sure that your photo is centered and then fold accordingly. So it's really easy. So I've got this, and now I'm going to take next fold and fold these. So it's just really how many steps. I have to count the steps. It's very limited steps here. I'll do the other one. This is the one that's not going to be that's going to be on the inside of the cube. So I'm just going to do it here. So that's step one, valley fold. And this is step two. It's another valley fold to meet that edge. Step three is a valley fold. Doesn't matter where I start it. And step four. So really, step 4 folds to make these. So we just have to, we're repeating it 12 times. So I'm going to set that aside, and just fold all of your pieces with the pattern side down, of course. That's very important. And if I wanted my artwork was in a different place, or where I wanted the image to show, I would just fold it, center it over that, center those folds over that. Here I'm just going to fold these all. So there is no diagram needed. You just have 4 simple steps. No calculating of measurement. No, you don't have to worry about it. Just fold away. Have fun. And just the most important thing, I think, is, of course, is to get your creases lined, or your edges lined up. That's the most important thing. These side edges must be lined up so that it's all nice and even. Otherwise, your cube will be off kilter a little bit. It won't really match, and then that will be a problem. But otherwise, there's really nothing you can do wrong. So just fold all 4. Step 4. And I'll do just throwing. I have my little stuff in a pile. Just gonna put my pile over there, and I'm going to keep folding. So I'll step 1. That's a cupboard fold. Step 2. Another cupboard fold, just to match this edge. Step 3, keep everything folded, and do another cupboard fold. Step 4. Okay. Just keep moving along here. I'll use my other side, the one I'm going to use on the other side. I'm just going to do it at a different, doesn't matter, it's more narrow. It just doesn't make any difference as long as you get these sides straight. Step 2. I like these kaleidoscope papers because they really help me to match up my folds because everything kind of lines up so nicely. It makes it easier to get an accurate fold. And I'm just going to fold this up and then fold this. Now I've made another unit. And that's how it looks on the other side. So you'll know this will be the outside. See, that's why I wanted my kaleidoscope paper to have these designs kind of make it look really even. If it was off a little, then it wouldn't be as fun. But that's kind of how, and this one's a little off, but it doesn't matter depending on the paper you have. So we'll just keep doing it to get the 12. Just 1. Step 2. Step 3. And step 4. If you have 6-inch paper, which in most paper from Japan is 15 centimeters, which is a little under 6 inches. And sometimes I say it's 6 inches, when really in reality, like this paper was printed in Japan. It was designed here in the US, but it was printed in Japan. So they always use centimeters, and that's why it's 15 centimeters. If you have paper that you've cut yourself that's 6 inches, then use the same when you're doing a modular fold or modular origami. It makes a difference if you're going to use the 6-inch or the 15 centimeters. So just get all of your papers to be the same exact proportions, and then you'll be okay. So now I'm just going to fold this one. Step 1, 2, and I've already got, this is my 11th one, so that's how quick this is. And I'm hoping, and I'm not going to rush you. I want you to just get yours done, and I'm going to kind of stop after I've done my 12th one. I'm going to stop and show you some paper cutters that I will recommend. If you're really going to, if you want to stay with this just to make life easier for you, you might want to just invest in a little paper cutter. They don't cost much. I'll tell you, I'm going to show you my 2 favorites. The one is $10 and one is $20. So, and then you can cut any of your papers down. You can cut gift wrap. You can cut magazine pages, anything, scrap papers. You can make your own origami paper. So that, and then you can also make your little smaller pieces easy enough. So that's my 11th one, and now I will do the 12th one. And this is so relaxing. You don't have, since you're not really following a diagram, you can just kind of do this while you're listening to music or watching, kind of watching the news. It's kind of a nice way to de-stress a little bit, just having, sometimes when I watch the news, I get a little stressed. So I think something like this while the news is going is a good thing. And just keeping it's good for your dexterity. And if you want to recenter it, like this is a little off center, I don't want to be picky about it, but I'm going to show you can adjust. If you want it to be perfectly in half, you can do that. Like here we go. I'm just going to scooch this over a little bit and adjust it a little bit. So now it's centered better on my, and it's really important to make your folds match or meet at this, not overlap, but meet, because that will also change the size of your cube. So that's probably the most important thing. So I've got the 12 units, but so while you're still making your 12, if you're still, and I will keep an eye on, in a minute I'll check in on you, but I'm going to show you these different types of paper cutters. This one is the one I really like. It's called the Bira. It says Bira, but if you go on to BIRA, If you go onto Amazon, I bought this in May, and I really like it because, of course, it's a guillotine cutter, and guillotine cutters for me I just like them. I think I like the size. It's not too small. It's 6 inches here. Doesn't have it. So 6 inches is about as high as I'm going to go anyway with the origami. So I have a 6-inch width here, and then 8, and I think it's 8.5 from here to here. So this is great if you're going to be cutting down. I'm going to grab a little white sheet of paper and show you. If you're going to be cutting down like your office paper, you can fit it right in. And I'll just, since I want to match it, I want it to match my, Japanese paper. So what I'm going to do is I never noticed until recently, silly me, there are 1 inch, there's inch increments, and then there's the centimeters right above it. So I can take my paper and look at the 7.5, because I know that's half of the 15, and I'm just going to line it up, and that gives me, well, wait a minute, I'm going to go 15 centimeters, duh, I was going to cut it in half. 15 centimeters, and it cuts very nice and clean, 15 centimeters. So now I have a matching, same size as my paper, my origami paper. So, and this cuts a nice square, very nice square. So that I like. And then this one's $20 on Amazon. And I've got the links if you're interested. That's 20, and I liked it. But then you can get these little swing arm ones. This one's a little bigger, but you can get one of these that have like a swing arm, which actually gives you more freedom. It's not a guillotine. It is a wire cutter. It's one of these sliding ones. This one, you also have right there. There's the 15 centimeter mark right here, and I can cut it and then just slice it. I can slice it with this little thing, and these are always refillable blades, and they cut pretty good, but they don't cut cardstock so well, but they're great, and they have them for $10 or less on Amazon. So those are handy as well, and just to have, if you're really, committed to Folded Fridays, I would suggest getting one, because here we've got all these papers that we need to cut down, unless you already had small. But usually in Japan, they make 3-inch papers. They don't do 7.5 inch. It's crazy, but anyway, yeah. And I see that I didn't cut mine exactly even. So I'm going to show you, Cheryl, which brand on the, okay, so let me go quickly because while you're still folding, I'm going to go into my Amazon thing. I'm going to give you the links. If you're an Amazon shopper, I am. Let's just I'm going to go on to Amazon, and I'm going to pop in those links in the chat, because I just saved them today, because I thought I would want you to know. So I'm just going to go there, and I'll get you those. Let's see. So my wish list, there it is. So I'm going to take the one the one I showed you, the guillotine. I'm going to give you that link, and just grab that, and I'm going to put it right in the chat for you. And this is, okay, so that's the one I just sent. The link I just sent is this one, exactly this one, and I love it. Good quality. And then the one that's half that price, I'll grab that real quick for you. And there it is. I found it. It's a really cute. It's pink, but you can get it in a gray if you don't like the pink. But this one's only $9.99. So I think that's a deal, and you can get a pink or a gray one. Oops, let's see. This is not doing that for me here. Copy link. Okay. And now I'll just go into the chat, and I will give you that. Where are we, chat? There. Okay. There. It's in the chat. So now that's the little $9 one. So just, I don't want people to spend money too much, but it's good sometimes to have a tool that will make everything, the experience, more pleasant. It's worth doing, right? So we've got all of our units. This is the last thing you'll need are these little pieces to join the cube. So I'm going to set those aside. And what we need to do is now make our 12 units into 6. So, and this is the part I had a hard time in the diagram, and I don't know why. It's just because because I'm older now. I don't know. But sometimes I have to look at this to remember, but it's kind of crazy. So what I have is I'm going to take my pretty side and my bad side. Doesn't matter at this point what we're doing, but let's say you lay this down. So, and you imagine these are pockets. So you're going to basically, you want your folded parts vertically here on this bottom one. And then this one I'm going to lay on top, but I'm actually just going to tuck. How can I explain this? Basically, there we go. I'm just going to fold that down and I'm going to lay that over. I'm hoping this will make sense. And if it doesn't, we'll keep doing it so that till it does. But basically now this part, if you can see, needs to be tucked into this little pocket area. So that's probably the hardest part. If you have paper that's not smooth, it can be a little problem. It could be a little weird, but you just basically get it inside those little, you want to get that inside. So it locks basically, it's going to lock together. And it is it can be a little tricky. So just kind of patiently slide that in and just slide it. Now I have another way that if it doesn't want to move or slide all the way down, there we go. So it slid. It's pretty much good. And then I'm just going to flatten it in case there's any parts that aren't flattening. So you can see what happened is I locked these two together. And what now is going on is I have pockets for each side. And that's where we're going to join them together. So I'm going to do it again. So that's my first unit set aside. It's ready. The next one I'm going to bring in. I'm just going to kind of do a gang thing here. You basically are going to just pretend I'm going to do this one on this side. I'm just going to slide these underneath these flaps. Just sliding it underneath the flap as far as it'll go until basically, we got Marlene's coming in. So we're sliding those in, and now what we need to do is get this flap that's on top to go under these. So that's the part that's probably the most difficult. And it's really not a difficult thing, it's just sometimes it depends on the paper you have. So don't be discouraged if you find it's a little struggle, because it can be. One way that we can repair that or kind of fix it, let's say that you're having a lot of trouble getting that pocket in, you could narrow these little, I'm going to try it because I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to just do it. I'm going to narrow this just a little by folding it into like an angle and see if this will make a difference. So I just folded the little angles and I'm going to slide it in. There we are. Yes, and it does make the job a lot easier. If that's what you need to do, you can do that. So we just want to get all of our little panel, we get all these. Now that's my second unit. It's ready to go. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to open this bottom one up. I'm not going to really open it up. Another really good thing is to make sure all your creases are really nice and sharp before you put everything together. And I think that should help as well. So now I'm going to just lay this one. Basically, I'm going to tuck this flap in underneath, just in between. Lay it over, and then I can bring it over and just basically gonna get these to go inside that. And that little angle trick was really helpful. So I probably will do that again because it just makes life easier. So I'll show you here. I've got this. I'm going to just take these and fold them at an angle. Just fold those little edges as far as you, just not too far, but enough to kind of narrow this end. And then what that does is then when you put it in, it's just less struggle. I definitely noticed that. It's much easier to get it in. And then you just slide it until everything gets flat. Make sure you're not making a new crease. There we go. And now I've got my third unit together now. So there we go, got that one. Next one. I'm going to bring in the back side, and there's my front side. So I'm going to just take this flap edge, just insert it and close those little flaps. And now I'm going to turn it over. And just to make the assembly easier, I'm going to make sure that this edge is lined up before I do anything. There we go. So this is all lined up. And now I'm going to narrow this just a little bit. You can narrow it at whatever angle you want, but just that really will help. And now I'm going to take, there's my little slot there. I have a little pocket. I'm just going to tuck it into that pocket. Slide that in. And I'm not making a new crease though. I just want to keep the crease I already had. And I'm going to have to tuck it. And sometimes it wants to wrinkle, and it's doing that right now. But I'm just going to slide that in, and there we are. Kind of just work it so that it all goes together. And then just kind of reinforce the creases that are already there. So that's number 4. And we've got, oops, I see I have I'm one short a piece of paper, but that's fine. I'll be able to fix that in a sec. That's funny. All right, I must have folded only 11. I thought I folded 12. All right, so now I'm going to open it up. And I'm going to, well, I don't have to open it far, actually. I'm going to slide this little part right here, close it, fold it over. I'm going to turn it over now. And I've got this little remaining flap that needs to slide in between those pockets. And the narrowing part is going to narrow those corners. I could cut them too, but that would really be messy. So folding it will be good. Now I've got my pocket. There's this pocket. Take your corners, slide them into the pocket. And just don't want to make those, come on, slide. So you can see, even I'm having still, it wants to, something is holding it, and I don't know why, but I don't want to force it. If there's something stopping it, there we go. You can just go in and roll it in, and then once it's all assembled, then just flatten it. Reinforce everything, those creases. So I have to fold another little piece, and I'll show you. I'm going to use this piece this is the piece that I cut, and so it's perfect because it's 15 centimeters. So I'm just going to, this is the part that's not going to show. So I'm just going to fold it. I want to make one more unit. And Marlene, you just joined us. This is the fold. We made 12 of these, the ones that I'm folding right now. You can use just regular paper, and then you can draw on your paper, which I think would be really neat. It's maybe to do, if we had little drawings or rubber stamped phrases or verses, something that inspires you, and you can make a cube that with inspirational phrases. I think that would be great too. So now I've got my little bottom part. I'm just gonna go ahead and lay this flap on top. We're in between, folding it over, turning it over, and I'm going to narrow those ends and tuck it in. So this could actually make it even a stronger, if you wanted a heavier weight paper, which this office paper is, it might make for a stronger cube. That might be the way to go. So I'm just going to get that tucked in. That needs to get tucked into this pocket. Go ahead, go in there. And then just roll it in, get it inside. Now, if it's stubborn like this, just keep working it so that you're not making a new crease along here. You just have to get it in there. And I see why this one's doing it. It's just kind of meeting up with the other one. But I'm going to persevere. If you want to, just roll your paper just a little bit, like kind of curve it like this, and then just take it and roll it in. Just let it roll. And then that should, until you get to the crease that was already there, then you can crease again. And I don't know why this is doing this, but it is. But I'm going to keep doing, I'm going to persevere. I'm rolling it down into there. And for some reason, it bunched up in the middle, but that's what happened. But it still works. There. Now I've got the white on one side, and I've got the color. Now this would be fun too, if you wanted to make a secret little box like this, and then have some, could be a great greeting card, like a very interesting interactive greeting card. You can put your words and your thoughts on, And then when you make the cube and they open it, they'll see the words. So this is just another creative option. So now we have 6 units. They should all be matching, hopefully, right? And I'm hoping that you're there. So then the next thing is you've got your pieces, and all of these basically have to be able to slide inside here. And if they don't, we're going to have to narrow them. But see how it slides in? So that I know is fine. But if you have to readjust the size on those, you just want to make sure they can slide in those little pockets. So now I'm going to take all of these 12 pieces and I'm going to fold them in half. Just really simply, all 12 get folded in half. And just as long as the folds are even, it'll be fine. This paper I have is slightly heavier in weight than the paper I folded with, that I did the units with. They don't have to be. I can see this one's way off, so I'm going to have to really play with that. I did not cut these squares. Sometimes when I'm in a hurry, you can see the edge is not right. But in fact, I'll probably just trim it. But I'll wait. We'll see. I'll show you the problems that can arise when you're making this, and we'll resolve them. So I'm just going to fold all my little pieces, in 12 of them. And I do see. Now, so the way to check to see if your paper is square, you'll know right away if your paper isn't square, perfectly square. And that's the dangers of cutting your own. If you're not really careful, or you're trying to go too fast, you may not cut it perfectly square, which can be a really big problem when you're doing origami, right? Then it makes things a little wonky. So that's the most important thing, is just to check it, go slow, and make sure they're square. But these don't matter so much because I'm really just folding them in half. And just get all those pieces. So now I've got all 12 pieces folded. And the reason I picked a nice color, that edge shows. So you can see on my edge, this was a blue paper and it shows. And that's nice to have something really fun, but a white border is fine, a black paper, whatever you've got. So now it's time to assemble. And this is really fun. It's so easy. This is going to be the outside. So I'm going to lay these, and if it mattered which, I'm not going to worry about the arrangement too much. But this is the wrong side, so I'm going to have those facing up. I'm just going to, there we go. And then we just kind of lay it down the way you want to arrange it. So basically it's 4 sides, and then you have a top and a bottom. So this is basically, how it's going to be. But I'm going to put these together first. Really easy. This is so easy. Now if paper doesn't want to slide, or if it's too big, this is fine. But you want that paper to slide all the way in so that it hinges like that. And you're going to do the same with the second piece. You're going to join that second piece. Just slide it in. If it doesn't slide, you can just trim it with scissors. Like this one, for some reason, doesn't slide as easy. So I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to just slightly trim, but not too close to that edge. Just a little trim, and I think it'll make it easier. Yes, it does. And then I'm going to slide it until it's pretty much hidden. There's just a little bit of maybe just a little showing, kind of like a book page. This would make a cute little book cover too, by the way. You could even make it, just have an idea. You could put a folded book page in there and make a cover. Oh, how fun. Just thought of an idea. We'll do that in another class. Take your next piece and just slide it inside. And if you're having trouble, you can angle those as well, or trim, however you want to do it. Bring in the next piece. We're just going to construct a 4-sided box without a bottom and a top yet. Sliding it in. Now, mind you, my first one I made is not even in this. So don't be discouraged if your first one comes out not as smooth as the way I'm showing you. My first one, see, that one isn't going to fit, so I'm going to just trim it. And what I'm doing is trimming just a little bit off, but not too much. I just took a little sliver off to make it so that will go in easier, but I don't want to remove the paper border, otherwise it'll show. So that's still too tight. So just slight little trim is all I need. There we go. And sliding it in just until it's got to be firm but not jammed in there. So there we go. Next step, I'm going to take the next one and slide that in to the next piece. It all should just nice and easy. And if it doesn't, see how this one's jamming a little? So I'm going to just do the same on that one. And that's perfectly okay. We've got to make some little adjustments. That's fine. I'm just trimming off a tiny bit of that. Better to trim off less, and then if you have to trim more, you can trim more. So I'm just going to get that into the pocket right there, and it's slid nicely. And then I'm going to put another piece on this end. And nice, it slid in nice. And now I'm going to join them, the four. This would be a fun thing to put some words and things inside. Now I'm going to just join the four of them together by sliding them in together. So now I have this cube, but it needs a lid and it needs a bottom. So I'm going to we'll do the bottom and the lid. All right. So just going to set that aside for a second. And I'm going to put 4 pieces into, and these aren't sliding, so another adjustment. And I'll slide that into pockets. So there's 4 pockets on this. Here it is. You can, if you really wanted to hold it together, you could put some glue. Let's say, I'm just going to show you. Of course, it's better not to right away when the first time. But if you wanted to secure it, you would glue it like right at this little part here, and then just slide it and let that glue dry. But just everything's got to be lined up really well that way, because sometimes you need to adjust the cube after you've assembled it. So I don't want to encourage you gluing it yet. Now we're just we're going to put in these little pockets. I'll slide these right into the pocket, on all 4 sides. You'll see there's a little pocket. And that one isn't going to slide because it's too big. Just do a little adjustment. That's a small sliver. You can see it's like a tiny, tiny little, like the hair. It's not much. And you can just kind of gauge it with your eyes if it's if it doesn't slide easily, but you don't want it to slide too easy. This one's going in nice and firm, which is good. As long as it can just, you want to be able to have it slide. That adjustment's important. So this is still a little tight. Not much, but it is a little. So I'm just going to take that little sliver off, and it will make it just all that little tiny trim makes a big difference. Yeah. There we go. And it really needs to you need to be able to slide it as far as you can in until that fold meets there. See, there's just a sliver of a hairline border there. And this is the last piece. I'm going to slide in. And it's not going in as easy. So if you don't want to cut, you can also take a fold the corners in, but it's just cleaner just to cut it. You can even go like really angled if you want, but don't get too much to this part, because that will cut that border off, and then your edges will look funny. So I just kind of cut it at a little bit of an angle, and I'll show you how much I did cut a lot, but I want you to see that there's really no exact formula here at all. That's what I like about this model. It's just so free. Now this one wants to bounce out, and I don't know why. There's something keeping it from. So what I could do is I could trim this off, because for some reason it's not seating. So I'm just going to cut off that part. Nobody sees that. And now it slides in perfectly. Yay. So now I've got my bottom. I guess I'll call it the bottom. And I'm just going to take I've got pockets on all these sides. So I'm just going to take this bottom, and I'm going to just slide all 4. Now, this is probably the best thing to do on this, as I remember doing this, is to take, and there's different ways you can do this. You could put them in one at a time, which I should have, or you can do them all at once. You can angle it, but let's just try doing it this way. I'm just going to take all the little parts, and I'm just going to get them in the pockets. And this is a little bit probably trickier, but I'm going to try it this way. If you have a little bone folder, this might help you to guide your paper into the little pockets. And we're almost done. Yay. This little part doesn't want to go in. Come on, go in. You got to talk nice to it sometimes. Go in. And I see now I've got to, there we go. Now it's slide, all 4 pieces are in. And there I've got the one part, that part done. Now the last part, so here's the box. It's a gift box now, and now we can just put the lid on. Last part. Now this time I'm going to do a little different, just to make things a little different this time. I'm going to put the sides on right here like that. And what I could do is fold these parts in, because that's the last part is going to be a little harder to put together because you can't poke your fingers inside the box. So I'm going to just go put that side like that. I have this little hinge. Just want to make sure it slides freely. If it doesn't, which it isn't, I'm going to just cut some of that off. We don't need all that. If it's keeping that sliding, if it stops before you're ready for it to stop, then you need to cut it, trim it. I'm going to put, I might as well just put them all in. So I'm going to angle this one here. And I'm just going to slide that in to this pocket. I've got these little angled hinges. I'm just doing it to all of them. And you want to start your fold, the angle part, a little farther away from that center crease, because then it will show. You'll see you don't want it to show. We just want to hide all that stuff. Make sure it slides all down, and if it doesn't, like this one doesn't, I'm trimming it. Trimming that edge off. I'm going to get that in so that it slides all the way down and it's hinging perfectly. And the last one, I might as well just do this ahead of time, cut it just in case. Save me a minute. All right, this is going in, and the sides don't want to slide that easy, so I'm going to trim that. A little hair. Now we'll try that again. There it goes. So now it slides perfectly, evenly. So I've got this little cool box. It's interesting, but now I'm going to get that lid on there to make it a cube. So it's very versatile. You can do lots of things with this one. So I'm going to go ahead and slide this on top, and then I'm just going to have to do the same. I'm going to have to find a way to get these in there. So you could lay it on top like this and just start making those little pockets. Get the little ends into the pockets. And then if you need a bone folder, you've got that. I'm just going to do it. And I don't remember how I did it last time. I thought it was easier than this, but I think I'm showing you different than how I did it. I'm just going to bend this and bring that in. And there's got to be an easier way. I should probably look at the book again. But there, I'm going to slide that in. And I'm going to get these last 2 pieces, and then that will be the end of it. We'll be done. Maybe I'll get this one here. This one wants to go next. And maybe having them go before you fold the last one down, just get them all, slide those in. Come on, let's go. Okay, now that one went way down there. Come on. You can pull out. Let's see, I'm going to take that one out. There we go. And now I'm going to put this one in, back into the pockets. So it is, modular in that way. You can take it apart. There we go. Slide those in the pockets. And now my cube is complete, just like the other one. This one, I think I glued the edges, but this one I'm not going to glue the edges. But if I wanted to, this would be, as long as I know everything is slid together, you can kind of glue the edges down. But I think it's kind of fun to be able to take it apart so that you can put surprises in it and have lots of fun with it. And so you can see it's not as easy to put back together once you take it apart. I know there was an easier way. I don't know what I did.
Awesome, Karen. Very awesome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So here we go. We got all the pieces together. We've got all our little cubes, our little fun little cubes, and I'd love to see how you've all done.